ರಾಮತೀರ್ಥ ಸೇವಾ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ ಪರವಾಗಿ ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಹಾರ್ದಿಕವಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಪ್ರತಿ ತಿಂಗಳ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಎಂದು ಮಾಸದ ನೆನಪು ಶೀರ್ಷಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತಿ ತಿಂಗಳ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂದು ಮಾಸದ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮರೆಯದ ಸದಾ ನೆನಪಿನಲ್ಲಿಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಆ ಥರ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳು ಪ್ರತಿ ತಿಂಗಳು ನಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಕಳೆದ 15 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ. ಆ ಥರ ಸೀರೀಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರೇರಕರು ಮತ್ತು ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಬಿಂದು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ತಿಮ್ಮಪ್ಪ ಹೆಗ್ಡೆ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಅನೇಕ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನು ಈ ರೀತಿ ನಮಗೆ ನಡೆಸಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವತ್ತು ಬಿಸಿ ಶೆಡ್ಯೂಲ್ ಇದ್ರೂ ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಮತೀರ್ಥ ಸೇವಾ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ ಒಂದು ಭಾಗವಾಗಿ ಅವರು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಈ ಕರೆದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಡೇಟ್ ಏನೇ ಇದ್ರೂ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಶೆಡ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅವರು ಬಂದು ಇವ್ರ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ನಡೆಸಿಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು ನಾನು ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಮತ್ತು ಅವರ ಪರಿಚಯವನ್ನ ಶ್ರೀಮತಿ ಇಂದುಮತಿ ವೆಂಕಟ ಅವರು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾವು ಕೇಳಬೇಕು.
ಸರ್ವೇ ಭವಂತು ಸುಖಿನಃ, ಸರ್ವೇ ಸಂತು ನಿರಾಮಯಾಃ, ಸರ್ವೇ ಭದ್ರಾಣಿ ಪಶ್ಯಂತು ಮಾ ಕಶ್ಚಿತ್ ದುಃಖಭಾಗ್ ಭವೇತ್. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಈ ಸುಂದರ ಸಂಜೆಯ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಮೆಚ್ಚುಗೆಯ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವಾದ ಎಂದು ಮಾಸದ ನೆನಪು ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸ ಮಾಲಿಕೆಗೆ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಆದರದ ಸ್ವಾಗತ. ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದ ಅನೇಕ ಮಹನೀಯರುಗಳು ತೋರಿಸಿರುವ ಆದರ್ಶ ಮಾರ್ಗಗಳು, ಸಾರಿರುವ ಸಂದೇಶಗಳು ಇಂದಿಗೂ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಲಭ್ಯವಾಗಿರುವ ಜ್ಞಾನಾಮೃತಗಳು. ಈ ದಿಗ್ಗಜಗಳ ಸಾಲಿಗೆ ಸೇರಿದ ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ಬ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠ ಮಹಾನ್ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಶ್ರೀ ರಾಮತೀರ್ಥರು. ನಂತರ ಅವರು ತೀರ್ಥರಾಮರಾಜರು. ವೇದಾಂತವನ್ನು ತಿಳಿದು ವೇದಾಂತದಲ್ಲೇ ಬದುಕಿ ವೇದಾಂತ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನಿ ಎನಿಸಿಕೊಂಡ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ರಾಮತೀರ್ಥರ ಪ್ರೇರಣೆಯಿಂದ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ ಈ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯೇ ಶ್ರೀ ರಾಮತೀರ್ಥ ಸೇವಾ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್. ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯ 6ನೇ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಡು ಬರುವಂತೆ ಉದ್ಧರೇದಾತ್ಮನಾತ್ಮಾನಂ ಎಂಬ ಧ್ಯೇಯ ವಾಕ್ಯದೊಂದಿಗೆ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭವಾದ ಈ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಕಳೆದ 15 ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಎಂದು ಮಾಸದ ನೆನಪು ಎಂಬ ಶೀರ್ಷಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸಮರ್ಪಕವಾಗಿ ಉಪಯುಕ್ತವಾಗಿ ನಡೆಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಬರುತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ಗೌರವಾನ್ವಿತ ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಗುರುಗಳಾದ ಶ್ರೀ ರಾಘವೇಂದ್ರ ಶರಣರು. ಇಂದಿನ ನಮ್ಮ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸ ಮಾಲಿಕೆಯ ವಿಷಯ ಶ್ರೀ ದಕ್ಷಿಣಾಮೂರ್ತಿ, who represents Shiva as a teacher of yoga, music and wisdom, offering an exposition of the Shastras. He is worshipped as the god of wisdom and meditation. ಇಂತಹ ಮಹಾನ್ ಗುರುಗಳ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವವನ್ನು ಮಹತ್ವವನ್ನು ತಿಳಿಸಿಕೊಡಲು ನಮ್ಮೊಂದಿಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ನೆಚ್ಚಿನ ವೇದಾಂತ ಗುರುಗಳಾದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಶ್ರೀ ತಿಮ್ಮಪ್ಪ ಹೆಗ್ಡೆ. ಅವರು ಎಂದು ಮಾಸದ ನೆನಪು ಶೀರ್ಷಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವು ಬಹು ಚಿಂತನಾಶೀಲವಾದ, ಮನಮುಟ್ಟುವ, ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಆಸಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನುಂಟು ಮಾಡುವ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಗಳನ್ನು ನೀಡಿರುವುದನ್ನು ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಈ ಹಿಂದೆಯೇ ಕೇಳಿ ಆನಂದಿಸಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅವುಗಳ ಲಾಭ ಪಡೆದಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಕೂಡ. ಆದರೂ ಔಪಚಾರಿಕವಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ಕೆಲವು ಆಸಕ್ತ ಭಕ್ತರು ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಈ ದಿನ ಮಾತ್ರವೇ ಬಂದಿರಬಹುದು ಎಂದು ಭಾವಿಸಿ ಅವರನ್ನು ಪರಿಚಯಿಸುವುದು ನಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯ ಹಾಗೂ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯವೆಂದು ಭಾವಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ತಿಮ್ಮಪ್ಪ ಹೆಗ್ಡೆ ಸರ್ is currently the director and senior consultant neurosurgeon at Narayanamurthy and Institute of Neurosciences. He was earlier the additional professor of neurosurgeon at NIMHANS, Bengaluru. Past president of the Neurospinal Surgeons Association of India. He had his medical and neurosurgical training in India with further specialized training in USA, Japan, and Netherlands. Though he is a doctor, he is a true Vedantin. ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮ ಚಿಂತಕ, ಭಗವಂತನನ್ನು ಅರಸುತ್ತಾ ಅರಿಯುತ್ತಾ ಅರಿವಾದದ್ದನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ತಿಳಿಸುವ ತೋರಿಸುವ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನವನ್ನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತಾ ವಿಹರಿಸುತ್ತಿರುವ ಒಬ್ಬ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠ ವೇದಾಂತ ಸಾಧಕ ಪಂಡಿತರ. He has given many international talks, has addressed Gita conference in Bengaluru. He was invited by the Vatican to speak at an international meeting and had a special audience with the Pope, His Holiness John Paul, in 1999. He has authored 30 scientific publications in various journals, written a book on the history of neurosciences, has received innumerable number of awards. Dr. Thimappa Hegde enjoys traveling, has visited the Indian Himalayas, Nepal, Bhutan, and Mansa Sarovara, Mount Kailash, to name a few. Being such a busy surgeon, he has been conducting Vedantic study groups at various centers and feel very proud to say that many of us who are here are studying Vedanta under his noble, able, and humble guidance. He has started an online school called Param Vedanta with many seekers and study to propagate our scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Bhajagovindam, Prakarana Granthas like Panchadashi and others, which has reached people across the world too. With this brief introduction, I request Dr. Thimappa Hegde sir to enlighten us on about the great Guru, Sri Dakshinamurthy. Hari Om. Thank you.
Arambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Thank you very much, Shanoi sir, for this real privilege to be with all of you. We are going to study Sri Dakshinamurthy Stotra. Primarily, it will be trying to understand Vedanta through Sri Dakshinamurthy Stotra. This particular text, many of us have studied many times. And therefore, my approach is going to be different. We will not go through each verse meaning by meaning. Of course, we will do that, depending on available time. But let us try to understand what a precious gift this is by Adi Shankara, specifically for a few reasons. It is said this text is a little advanced text. What do you mean by an advanced text? There are certain texts that are giving to give us introduction to Vedanta. These are called the Prakarana Granthas. Then there are texts like the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, Brahma Sutra. They call it Prasthana Traya that will teach you Vedanta. Once a person has gone through certain introductory texts, if you want a capsule that you can keep it with you, wherever you are, whenever you are, you have no books, you have no phone, there is nothing, you are by yourself, then Sri Dakshinamurthy Stotra becomes a very useful tool from your own memory to remember these verses. And this is what is called Nidithyasa. In Vedanta, there are two types of instructions. One is called words of information. Most of the Vedanta will tell you what is Brahman, what is Karma Yoga, what is Upasana Yoga, what is this body made of, gross body, subtle body, causal body. These are all called words of information. So you will get a lot of information about ourselves. Three things we need to know about Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara. Jiva means myself, Jagat means the world around me. Third is about Ishvara, who is this God. Fourth, if you want, what are the spiritual practices? Fifth, if you want, why is there so much suffering in this world? Sixth is how to overcome all these sufferings. So, Atma, Anatma, Paramatma, various sadhanas, bandha, moksha. These are 6 things where the teachers will give you what is called words of information. After all the words of information are given, finally the teacher will give you what is called words of introduction. Today we will be touching on words of introduction. I will explain to you. There are 3 main topics that I would like to touch on before I come to the Sri Dakshinamurthy Stotra itself. The first is about Jnana and Bhakti. Whenever you are in the path of Vedanta, this is called the path of Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga involves studying scriptural texts under the guidance of a teacher. So you go through 3 steps. It is called Shravanam. So the teacher will give you the Bhagavad Gita or the Upanishads. You listen to the teaching. And then you have doubts, you clarify the doubts. That is called Mananam. And there will be something that you need to meditate on to internalize the teaching. That is called Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasana. Go through those teachings. This path is called the path of Jnana Yoga. Normally, people think Jnana Yoga is a different path, Bhakti Yoga is a different path. But those who have been Jnanis, great Jnanis like Adi Shankara, also propagate Bhakti. You will remember, those who are of my generation, when M.S. Subbalakshmi's Bhaja Govindam long play came, there was an introduction by Rajgopal Acharya. So Rajgopal Acharya gave a very nice introduction about Jnana and Bhakti. He is a great master himself, and his words are so beautiful, I cannot improve on it. I will tell you what his words are. Adi Shankaracharya wrote a number of Vedantic works for imparting knowledge about the self and the universal spirit. He also composed a number of hymns to foster bhakti in the hearts of men. One of these hymns is the famous Bhaja Govinda. In this context, I'm using another hymn, not as famous, but much more evolved, that is the Sri Dakshinamurthy Stotra. Now he will come to say why the path of Jnana and the path of Bhakti are not different from each other. The way of devotion is not different from the way of knowledge or jnana. When intelligence matures and purely in the mind, it becomes wisdom. When wisdom is integrated into life and issues out in action, it becomes bhakti. Knowledge, when it becomes fully mature, it becomes bhakti. If it does not get transformed into bhakti, such knowledge is useless. To believe that jnana and bhakti, knowledge and devotion, are different from each other is ignorance. If Sri Adi Shankara, who drank the ocean of jnana as easily as one sips water from the palm of one's hand, sang in his later years hymns to develop devotion, it is enough to show that jnana and bhakti are one and the same. Sri Adi Shankara has packed into the Bhaja Govindam song, and here Sri Dakshinamurthy Stotra, the substance of all Vedanta, and set the oneness of jnana and bhakti into melodious music. That is why, as we proceed in the path of jnana, parallelly we should become bhaktas also. How do we develop bhakti? Now, before we study the Dakshinamurthy Stotra, there are 6 Jnana Shlokas. The Jnana Shlokas are not by Adi Shankara. Those who wrote commentaries on the Sri Dakshinamurthy Stotra, one of them is called Manasollasa. Manasollasa is written by whom? Sureshwaracharya, who was his direct disciple and the first Matajipati of Hegde. So I have the book with me. For each verse, 10, 20, 30 verses, Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana elaborated into 30 verses, like that second verse. So he is given a great elaboration on each of these verses, and Sureshwaracharya is always poetic. So each of them are poetic expositions on the Sri Dakshinamurthy. And if you go through that, there will be many verses which are the Dhyana Shlokas. What is a Dhyana Shloka? Dhyana Shlokas are used to meditate. Now, if you want to see Sri Dakshinamurthy, now all the Dhyana Shlokas are based on this image of Dakshinamurthy. Those who have been to Kailash, The south face of Kailash is also called Dakshinamurthy. Few images you have to keep in your mind. A youthful face. Dakshinamurthy is a young teacher. He's got a smile on his face. Mudita Vadana, the smile on his face. And the smile on his face has come from where? Swatmaram, the joy that is coming from within. So let us also be able to learn through jnana and bhakti to have that total fulfillment within ourselves. Today we are in Satsanga. Adi Shankara himself has said, Satsangatve Sangatvam, Nisangatve Nirmohatvam, Nirmohatve Nischalatatvam, Nischalatatve Jivanmukti. Satsanga paves the way to Jivanmukti. In that same Bhajagovindam, there is another beautiful verse. You will remember. Yogaratova, Sangaratova, Sangavihinaha. Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chittam Nandati Anandati Eva. Now we are in Satsanga. Now supposing we are by ourselves, nobody is there. For some reason we are alone. One of the biggest problems of human life is as we get older, our children have their own life, they will be moving away. As time passes, it is difficult that both the spouses are there together. One person can go ahead of the other. We have to learn to be ourselves. It is in these sort of verses will help to understand what is called Swatmana. When others are there, good. When I am by myself, can I be Swatmarama? There is so much of internal joy within myself, and this is possible through. So when you have a common jnana and Swatmara. Now, how does Swatmara? You see Sri Ramatheertha doing the Chin Mudra is the essence of all Vedanta. All Vedanta says we are not one but two. There is an ordinary body-mind complex represented by Anjali. Whenever we are egoistic, that is why for any yoga practice we don't use this figure. So this is my ego. And it will say, and this is the emotion. So when we surrender to the Atma, it means you have separated from the gross body, subtle body, causal body. All the three, that's why Swami Chidananda says talak, talak, talak. Talak to the gross body, subtle body, causal body. Rajoguna, Sattva-guna, Tamoguna. You give up all the various gunas. You give up the three bodies. The waking, dream, deep. There are so many triputis. When you give up all those triputis and you become a nobody, then you become a shunya. When you become a nobody, and that is why in silence, Sri Dakshinamurthy is Prakati. She is demonstrating. Now, this teaching, this smile on the face, and this teaching, remember all the time, the right leg is on Apasmara. Apasmara means when you see Dakshinamurthy's right leg is on somebody. Who is that somebody? That somebody represents forgetfulness. For the time being, we will call it as Apasmara. Yes, I forget that I am Atma, that Swatma Ramam is gone. Then all the worldly sufferings become very real to me. So in the Dhyana Shlokas, this picture to be remembered. The Dakshinamurthy Stotra, although it is called, two more verses seem to be added later on, possibly, or maybe in the beginning, because Manasollasa, which was written by Sureshwar Chakracharya, is given commentary on all the 10 verses. So Adi Shankara himself has written all these 10 verses. And in 9 of these verses, except the 10th, it will conclude by Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namah Shri Dakshinamurthy. Now, so this is that line which brings in bhakti. In every verse, the first three lines are pure Vedanta, high funda Vedanta. I may not even get to touch them, but I will touch them very briefly. The essence of all Vedanta is in the first three lines of each verse. In the last verse, Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namah Shri Dakshinamurthy. To that Dakshinamurthy, who is none other than my Guru Murti. My Guru Murti. See, whenever you are offering Namaskara, you do Namaskara to two people simultaneously. You do Namaskara to Sri Dakshinamurthy, who is the Adi Brahma Vidya Acharya. But at the same time, you do Namaskara to your real Guru, the living Guru. The living. So at two strokes, you make Namaskara. So at one stroke, and then if you know a little bit of Sanskrit, Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namah Shri. You know what you're saying? You're not saying I am doing Namaskara. When I comes there, ego comes there. So there is no I who's doing Namaskara. Then how do you do Namaskara? The Namaskara is here when in I think in the 7th chapter. Ananya Chintayanto Ma. Ananya Chinta. What is meant by Ananya Chinta? Ananya Adi Shankara has commented as when there is no Veda, no difference between Bhagavan, Ananya, there is no other. Now, this is something we have to understand in today's class by what we understand by non-dual. Duality means you and I are separate from each other. Non-dual, I see differences, but I do not see them. I do not differentiate. I will explain. I'll spend a little more time on this. When the river joins the ocean, or when the wave merges into the ocean, that is the kind of namaskara. Whenever you say Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namah Idam Shri Dakshinamurthy, three things happen. I have dissolved. There is no I. I am offering my Guru, my namaskara to my Guru, and to Dakshinamurthy through my Guru. So this will come 9 times in the Sri Dakshinamurthy story. Tumeva Mata Chavita Tumeva Tumeva Bandhuscha Saha Tumeva Tumeva Vidya Dravidan Tumeva Tumeva Sarvam Tumeva Diva Tumeva. You indeed are like my mother and father. That means you are not my mother and father, but I treat you like my mother and father. Tumeva Bandhu. Who's your Bandhu? Your relatives, whom you bind yourself, whomever you bind yourself to are your Bandhu. Tumeva Bandhuscha Sakha. Sakha means Tumeva Vidya, you are my knowledge. Tumeva Dravinam. Dravinam means wealth. Dravinam means. And finally, Tumeva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Who is this one person whom you can give all these things to? It should be the Guru only. So this is a beautiful prayer addressed to the Guru. All right. We finished the first topic. The first topic is when we study Sri Dakshinamurthy Stotra, we should be able to simultaneously bring in Bhakti along with Jnana. When the focus is on Jnanam, let Bhakti. People like the great Acharyas of Sringeri Mata, they say this is one chanting that you should do every day. It will help you to remember Vedanta, but at the same time, you will be able to bring Bhakti by bringing in Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namah Idam Shri Dakshinamurthy. God is present in everything and everywhere. But do we really see God everywhere and in everything? We have difficulty in visualizing God that way. Why? Who's the person who's creating a problem? See, if you understand, Vedanta. This whole world is Isha Vasyam Yadam Sarvam Yadkini. The whole world is nothing but godliness. But we never see God anywhere. There must be some problem. Where is the problem? Only yesterday, we made all our prayers to Vara Mahalakshmi. The problem is there. Maya Devi. Maya Devi creates a problem. What is the problem that Maya Devi creates? Two problems. One is called Avarana Shakti. Maya Devi's got two Shaktis. One is called the Avarana Shakti and the other is called the Avarana Shakti is Maya Devi has the ability to conceive godliness in the world outside and godliness in you. You are not able to see. Vikshepa, when I don't see the reality, I get a wrong idea. Next question to you is, this whole world that we have is the what we call creation. And creation is a product of none other than Maya Devi herself. One question to all of you. When is the world born? When did this world come into being? Ramaji got the answer. The world comes into being the moment we wake up in the morning. And the world comes to an end the moment we go to bed. So Maya Devi's powers are between waking up and going to sleep. That is why when we wake up in the morning, what is the first thing that we do? Karagre Vasate Lakshmi, Karamati Saraswati, Karamale Sthite Gauri, Karadarshana. Why do we do that? The moment we wake up, become aware of, we have entered into Maya Devi's creation. And from that moment till the moment we go to sleep, we are in the territory of Maya Devi, and Maya Devi provides all our requirements. So you need strength for your body, you need wealth to go around, you need knowledge. So all these three things will be provided by Maya Devi. Maya Devi gives you little problems also. And the problem that we call is called the Hridaya Granthi. There is a knot in our heart. And the Hridaya Granthi is called, remember, repeat after me, Avidya, Kama, Kara. The moment I do not know my true nature, I do not know that I am Parabrahma Parama. When was I Parabrahma Paramatma? I want you to, when somebody is sleeping, especially maybe a small child, I have a little grandchild. When she's waking, she keeps all of the sleep because she's a little child. When she's fast asleep, just watch the person when you're fast asleep. When a person is fast asleep, the person is one with God. At that time, you can't see yourself, but at least you can imagine yourself when others are sleeping. Because at that moment, when you are fast asleep, who are you? Man, woman, young, old, nothing. Where are you? There is no space, there is no time, there is no object, there is no creation. That is where we are one with Parabrahma. The moment we come, we suddenly discover time, where am I? Especially if you are traveling and you are traveling in different locations, first thing you get up, you see, oh, what time is it? Then you look around which place I am. Sometimes if you are in different locations, you have a problem to find out where you are. And then you recognize suddenly all your problems come. That from the time you wake up is called avidya. Kama means because I see limitations, I feel if I fulfill that limitations, then I will be happy. Once karma comes, can you keep quiet? You have to do something to fulfill that desire. Sometimes you'll be in the middle of something, suddenly, oh, I have not done that. Then you are forced to do. Let me at least put a reminder or send a message to somebody to do something. That is called avidya karma karma. Now, due to Maya, two things are there. One is called the Jiva and the other is called Ishvara. Both of us are products of Maya. Even Ishvara is product of Maya. But what is the big difference between Ishvara and Jiva. One is a slave. One becomes a creature, the other becomes a creator. Why? That is why Dakshinamurthy is always keeping avarana, forgetfulness, under check. Ishvara will always have Maya under his control. And whenever Maya is under your control, there is a jump from being a limited creature to being a creator. Sri Dakshinamurthy Stotra will tell you, you are not a creature, you are a creator. And that is the whole vision of Sri Dakshinamurthy Stotra. You know, in almost every other verse, if you see Maya, Maya, Maya will come. And therefore, unless you understand what Maya is, Sri Dakshinamurthy Stotra will be difficult to understand. So Maya is that aspect of Brahman which is responsible for all this creation. Maya has got these various gunas. That is the beauty of the whole world. And if you understand, your whole life will become a Leela, Nandati, Nandati, Nandati. If you don't understand that, if you allow yourself to be a slave of this creation, then the whole world becomes a problem. Now, how do we solve human problems? There are two methods of solving human problems. One method, all of us know, the first block. See, whenever somebody has a problem, they come to you with a problem, and then we have a very analytical mind to find out where is the problem, what is the root cause of the problem, so who can help us to solve the problem. Especially those of us who are in medical field, our job is every day to find problems. Sometimes it is in the body, sometimes it is in the mind, and our whole job is to be able to help people to solve problems. So if you are in the problem-solving job, you will see you solve one problem today, tomorrow another problem, and then another problem. And therefore, this is one aspect, and you can be very busy solving your problems. Now, how does Sri Dakshinamurthy work on that? By dissolving the one who has the Dakshinamurthy is an aspect of Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva's problem, Lord Shiva is called a Layarkarta. And what is a Layarkarta? He destroys. He completely destroys. He will destroy you completely. And that is why if you are a student of Sri Dakshinamurthy, you should allow the Guru to completely destroy. The role of a Guru is two things. I have said this many times. A Guru has two roles. To take away from us what we think we have but don't. What is that we think we have but don't? All false notions. Nobody loves me. I am not good. These are all false notions. So he will take away from us what we think we have but don't. But that is our false idea about ourselves, our ego. And in that process, he will reveal to you what you always are. Difficult to believe, but Parabrahma, Paramatma. There is that divine in us, and that divine is covered by ignorance. And that ignorance, because of it, that Vikshepa presents us as a limited being. So Dakshinamurthy hammers at that. One nice formula given by Bhagwan Ramana can be repeated after me. So this was the small formula that he gave a child who came with leukemia. 50 years ago, there was no treatment for leukemia. So when the child came with blood cancer, he gave the child a small mantra. And this is a Maha mantra. This is a great mantra. Repeat after me. Naham deham. Oham soham. Naham deham. Oham soham. Naham deham means I am not my body. See, when we wake up in the first morning, the first thing we identify is this body and mind. And the first hammer that the Guru will do is this body is only an instrument from which you use to communicate with the world. We have lived in so many bodies, isn't it? If you look at a photograph of yourself when you were a small boy or a small girl, where is that boy or girl now? In this life itself, we have lived in so many bodies. So the first understanding is Naham Deha. All our problems in this world come because of body identification. Because of my body, I have this mind. Because of my body mind, I have this family. I have this property. I have this possessions. I have this profession. And because of body identification, all these come. So the first hammering is the body mind is only an instrument. And for a lower order of reality, koham. You have to inquire. And when you inquire, you will discover your real self. Saha aham asmi. So when you study Sri Dakshinamurthy and the Dhyana Shlokas, we will come to that. There is one word called Maunam Vyakya Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvana. That means the whole exposition about Parabrahma Tattvam by Dakshinamurthy was given how? Maunam Vyakyani, through silence. Through silence, what can you communicate? Supposing you go for a class on Sri Dakshinamurthy, supposing you have not studied anything, a great teacher comes. And throughout the class, it is like this only. What new knowledge will you get? Isn't it? Through Maunam Vyakya, what knowledge can you get? So, when Bhagwan Ramana was surrounded by a lot of people, so they asked this question. The question was this: how did Dakshinamurthy teach through Maunam? You know what Bhagwan Ramana's reaction was? He says, I will tell you what exactly happened. He said, the students, you will see there are so many rishis around him, they used to ask him questions, he would answer. More questions, more answer. That question answer used to go on and on. And finally, Bhagwan said, enough. He stopped. And the magic was, after so many discussions and question answer, when he sat in silence for some time, the miracle was, all their doubts got cleared. Now, Bhagwan was speaking with such conviction that all the students were looking around. How does he say with such conviction unless he is a Sakshi to this? Unless he is Dakshinamurthy himself, or he was one of those rishis along with Sri Dakshinamurthy. Because Bhagwan Ramana himself has said that Dakshinamurthy was going on speaking. He was going on speaking and more questions were coming. And then afterwards, finally he said, enough, and he went into silence. Now that we will be discussing when we come to the Dhyana Shlokas. But this is a nice formula to remind ourselves. This body is only an instrument for me for communications. I have lived in many bodies. I may live in more number of bodies. It does not matter. But from today onwards, I have disidentified this body as me. I have to identify as one more body. Now this can come only through the study of Vedanta. In the Mundaka Upanishad, there is the example of two birds. And what are these two birds? There is one lower bird and one higher bird. Now the tree represents our physical body, and in this physical body there are two birds. One bird constantly eating fruits, sometimes enjoying, sometimes suffering. That is what we are normally doing. We are karta, bhokta, and because of our activity, whenever we do some activity, we will have some enjoyment or some suffering. That is the lower bird. There is the higher bird in all of us. I want you to experience that higher bird, the Sakshi bird, who's not doing anything, who's observing. So you will see at every time there are two people. One is the karta bhokta, the other is the witness. Our whole spiritual journey is to understand that this body mind is the lower bird, give less importance to it, identify with the higher bird. Swami Paramarthananda has given us a great learning, and this group I have told 100 times. If you see my hand, you are able to see my hand. In addition to my hand, are you able to see something else other than my hand? And that is the clue the teacher will give you. Because of that, you are able to see my hand, and that something is not part of my hand, it is not a product of my hand, it is not a property of my hand, it is an independent entity which makes my hand visible. And the answer is light. So you will see there are two things. One is hand, the other is light upon my hand. Is the light part of my hand? No. Is it a property of my hand? No. Is it a product of my hand? It is an independent entity. It is all over there. Because of that light, you are able to see my hand. If I remove my hand, has the light disappeared? The light continues to be there. But that light is not manifest because of the want of a medium to reflect. So too with consciousness. What is this consciousness? The higher bird that we are seeing is like that light upon my hand. It is not just limited to the body, it is everywhere. That consciousness is common to all of us. There is no separate consciousness in you and there is a separate consciousness in me. It is that one consciousness that is manifesting through me as a speaker, through you as a listener. So that one entity manifesting through so many things. So in addition, I see so many objects around me. Now ask your question, how did I see all these objects? Only for one reason, because there is light on those objects. From now onwards, tell yourself, anything that I see is an enlightened object, isn't it? If there is no light on that object, you will never be able to see. That is why this is an enlightenment shloka. Because there is light on this Ramatheertha photograph, I am able to see Sri Ramatheertha. So every object I am able to see because of light on that object. I am able to see that photograph not only because there is light on that object, my eyes are functioning. Now what we are doing this exercise, from the object we are moving to the subject. The first verse of Sri Dakshinamurthy Stotra is called Drik Drishya Viveka. So our job is to move from the object to the subject. So I am able to see the object because of light, and the light I am able to see because of my eyes. My eyes are functioning because my mind is there. If a person is unconscious, I can put light, but the person is not able to see. So the mind must be there. My mind is functioning because of consciousness. Therefore, in every experience, remember this is a nice verse from Kenopanishad, Prati Bodha Viditam Matam. In every experience, can I see the experiencer? This is a great spiritual exercise. All the time. I am seeing the world around me, but now my attention is not on the world. My attention is on the one who is observing that world. And when I become aware of that one, I become aware of that higher bird, the real, and that real bird is the Dakshinamurthy in me. So therefore, I am conscious, all of us are conscious. What I am conscious of differs, but that I am conscious is the same. When I go to dream, I am aware of my dream, so many objects, but even in the dream, there is somebody who is aware of the dream. When I go to sleep, I don't know anything, but when I wake up, I know I slept well. That means in the same Dakshinamurthy, in verse number 7, it will come. There is one Sakshi in and through all the states who is observing, and that is one aspect of me, and that is called Chit or consciousness. We all agree, we are all conscious. Now, second thing, and I told you this earlier also, if you look into your own body, you will see there is something in me that is constantly changing. there is something in me that has never changed. My body has changed, my mind has changed, my thoughts have changed, my ideas have changed, my friends have changed. But have you changed? Do you ever feel you are getting old? We always see other people getting old. We never feel we are getting old because we log on to that non-aging principle within ourselves. And that non-aging principle that is there at all time, and that is what is called Sat. So now we have discovered two things. If this is discovered, you have discovered the essence of all Vedanta. That I am Sat. Sat means there is something in me, not in my body. My body is changing, but there is something beyond my body that has never changed. What is that which never changes in all three? Sat kim? Kalatriya api tishtati iti sat. That which is there in all the three stages, in waking, dream, deep sleep state, and that which never changes from childhood until now, and that is what is called Sat. Finally, I want you to, Sri Dakshinamurthy Stotra works on two things. I am. Who can say I? Can this pointer say I? It cannot say I. Why? It is not conscious. Only if you are conscious, you will say I. Whenever you say I am, that I represents what? Consciousness. When you say am, so I will just look around and ask you one question. And you have to answer this question. Has Venkatesh Prasad come? How do you know? You have to look and see, no? See, you have to search to see, to know whether Venkatesh Prasad has come or not. You will have to use your eyes, your mind, your sense organs to say. I will ask you, have you come here? To answer this question, do you need to see? Do you need to feel? Do you need to know? I am. That amness does not need my mind, does not need my sense organs. That knowledge, which does not need your mind or the sense organs, is the real you. And that is why when you say I am, stop. When you say I am a man, I am a woman, I am a doctor, I am a patient, you have come into anatma. But when you say I am, that means I am conscious, I am existent. My real nature is conscious existence. And what kind of conscious existence? Limitless consciousness, limitless existence. Why? I have been there from the very beginning. If there is a beginning, I will be there till the very end if there is an end. There is no, that is why they say the consciousness, sun will go, moon will go, but your consciousness will not go. This I am. I'll give you one very beautiful word for I am. And that comes in the Bhagavad Gita. And Adi Shankara has given a lot of commentary for that word in the Bhagavad Gita which represents I am. Quiz. What is that word in the Bhagavad Gita which represents I am? Okay, Kshetrajna. Kshetrajna means the one who is the knower of the field. See, in Sanskrit, I am, aham asmi. Okay, I am is aham asmi. But there is one word in one chapter that is also a quiz for me. And the most beautiful word for I am, and that is Vasudeva. And the question for you is, all Gita teachers, which chapter, which verse Sri Krishna uses the word Vasudeva? Yeah?
Chapter 10.
In the 10th chapter, Vasudeva comes?
Chapter 10, yeah. When he is describing the Vibhutis,
Yeah.
he says, I am Vasudeva.
All right, okay, except what there. But when he's talking about Vasudeva in the context of I am, correct, that when I'll agree. There is one more place. Go to 7th chapter, verse 19. Bahunam janmanam ante. You know? Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyante Vasudeva sarvam iti. Sa matma sa durlabha. It is extremely difficult. Vasudeva. And Adi Shankara described what is the meaning of the word Vasudeva. How much time I have taken? Let me see. Oh my God. Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. Vasate means that which exists. Vasute means that which exists. Vasate, existence. Deva means consciousness. That is why in the Sanskrit word Deva means God. Deva means something divine. Deva means because of light I'm able to see everything. That which helps you to know anything is also called Deva. All my sense organs are all called Deva. Who is Deva or Mahadeva? Mahadeva is Brahman or Atma. So the beautiful word is Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Now remember, Sattva Basika Chit Pavetara Sattaya Hi Chit Chittaya Hi Aham. In the Upadeshasara, there is a nice word which says, this Sat and Chit are not two different things. Vasu and Deva are not two different things. When Vasate and Deva come together, when Sat and Chit come together, when is Sat and Chit come together? When you are fast asleep. When you are fast asleep, Sat and Chit are one together. When does Sat and Chit become separate from each other? The moment you wake up. Who has come in between? Your mind has come into me. Mind is that Maya Devi. When the mind comes in between, there is a separation. What is the separation? I see an existent world, the world. So Vasate becomes there, Deva comes here. Vasudeva has become split. The whole world is there outside, and the one who is experiencing the world has become inside. So from the time you wake up till you go back to sleep, when the Vasu and Deva come back together, then we have the whole problem of samsara unless you are awake. When you are awake, you know, although I see differences, I do not differentiate. What happens when a person goes to sleep? When a person goes to sleep, what happens? Sat and Chit have come together. And when Sat and Chit have come together, you have no limits, you have Ananda. Whenever Sat and Chit have come together, you have Ananda. Now it is called Vishayananda. Now in the world outside, now Swamiji has given an example of a Bengali who loves Rasagulla. So that you just imagine there is a Bengali who is seeing Rasagulla on a plate, and as long as there is a separation between existence there and consciousness here, there is samsara. So then what does he do? The moment he gets a chance, he will take the Rasagulla and put it in his mouth and then close his eyes. Then what has happened? Sat and Chit have become together. The moment Sat and Chit have come together, temporarily you have Ananda. So the moment they separate, see, whenever they come together, you have Ananda. What does Ananda actually mean? Ananda means limitlessness. The real meaning is Anantatvam. When I do not see any limitations. When you are fast asleep, there are no limitations. There is no limitation in time, no limitations in space. And that is why you experience Anantatvam or Ananda. So coming to Sri Dakshinamurthy. So Dakshinamurthy does destruction of duality. And how does Dakshinamurthy do a destruction of duality? Let me see, I hope this video works.
Charlie bit me. Ah. Ah. Oh, ouch. Ouch. Ouch, Charlie. Ow! Charlie, that really hurt. No, Charlie bit me. And that really hurt, Charlie, and it's still hurting.
Alright, we saw the story. We'll come back to Vedanta. Now, the older brother deliberately put his finger inside the younger brother and he got bitten. At one moment, he could give him a slap and get his hand released. Why he didn't do that? He could have done that, no? One option was there. Now, sometimes, my own tongue is bitten by my own teeth. All right? My tongue is bitten by my teeth and it hurts. Will I get so angry with my teeth for having bitten my tongue? Then I'll say I'll go down to the dentist there and do that high speed drill. I'll teach you a lesson. Why you won't do that? Although there are differences, I do not differentiate because the teeth is also me, the tongue is also me. Although there are no differences between the two brothers, one is hurt, the other is hurting. He did not hit him because I see differences, but I do not differentiate. Once you get this jnanam, you will see I see differences, but I do not differentiate. Now, this is the knowledge that Sri Dakshinamurthy would like you to give. This is the nasha of duality. Dakshinamurthy is an aspect of Shiva, Adi Brahma Vidya. He brings about a total destruction of duality. How? In spite of differences. I see differences, but a great Mahatma will not differentiate because he knows, just like my teeth and tongue, there are different aspects about me, and so there are no differences whatsoever. The word Dakshina means skilled, a great communicator. Amurti means formless. Dakshinamurti symbolizes the formless Brahman. And I said this is a Prakarana Grantha. I will do one thing. I will just touch on one opening shloka, that is the Dhyana shloka, and I will stop for today. We will have a few minutes for interaction on this because Tattva Sudha is a commentary. Sureshwaracharya has written Manasollasa, and the Dhyana shlokas come from have come from all these texts. I will request Indumati to please chant this.
Maunavakya prakatita parabrahma tattvam yuvana Vasishtam deva sadrishi ganairavutam brahmanishta Acharyendra karakalita sinmutramanandamurti Swatmanam Dakshinamurti.
As we are running out of time, we will have another occasion if you are really interested to go, because I know many of you know all these verses, but essentially if we are able to understand about Maya, use this to bring in Bhakti and Jnanam. Simultaneously work on Bhakti. Let there not be two parallel things. I get Jnanam and there is less of Bhakti. And finally, the only solution to all problems. Swami Anubhavananda ji says, from a relative world, like as doctors, as lawyers, as all officials, and all of us are problem solving, in the world outside, any solution is only a temporary solution. There is no permanent solution to any problem. But the moment you come into that higher bird, who is this I am, who is Vasudeva, and from that higher perspective, when you see the world, suddenly you will see there is no problem. You will see difficulties. You become an illuminator of all the difficulties. You will see good things, you will see bad things. But you will be like sitting in a movie theater experiencing these things, even when somebody is directly scolding you. Even when there is an embarrassing situation, when you have to cry in front of somebody, even in that situation, if you have understood the wisdom of Vedanta, then what happens? For the purpose of the society, you will cry. But internally, you know this is the drama of Vyavahara. When you are in Paramarthika, anything that happens in Vyavahara, cannot really affect you, because now you are certain that you are of a higher order of reality, and this body mind has to go through its karma, and sometimes there will be good things, sometimes there will be bad things. Our job therefore with jnanam is to be an illuminator. Remember this word, to be an illuminator but not be affected. I will conclude with two examples. How to be an illuminator and not be affected. Somebody goes to a cigarette shop and he asks for, I'll give you 555, give me one cigarette pack, 555. All right. Whenever you buy a cigarette, there will be one statutory warning. And the warning is, cigarette smoking is injurious to your health. Now he illumines that fact. Does it affect him? It does not affect him. So you illumine and you don't get affected. Another teacher, a Vedanta teacher who comes here, he looks into your eyes and says, Tat Tvam Asi. Illumine but don't get affected. If you understand in that moment, Parabrahma Tattvam, the highest learning. But we are experts at what? Illumine but not get affected. So in the second example, I want you to take that seriously. Not in the first example. The second example is a great, if the teacher says, Tattvam Asi, through understanding, what should you say? Aham Brahmasmi, do namaskara for the Guru, and live your life now like an avatara, not like a jiva. Honestly, from now on, if you have understood, the teacher has said, Tat Tvam Asi, let it be real. Let us not be like that cigarette smoker who illumines and not get affected. For Vyavahara, let us illumine all this and not get affected. But in Paramarthika, let us take that word Tat Tvam Asi. You are that. Why will a great teacher simply tell you a lie? Isn't it? The teacher will not tell a lie. I know there is a truth. I have Shraddha. But this is the Shraddha. I go by the truth that this is it. Someday, when Sri Shanoy calls us once again, I got lost in my introduction. I have not even been able to explain the Dhyana Shlokas for two reasons. One, for me, I felt this was more important. All these things have been explained by great teachers. All these audios are available for us. In another chance, when I come again, I will quickly summarize all these things. It will be very useful if you listen to Swami Paramarthananda and Swami Anubhavananda. Both of them have spoken eloquently on Sri Dakshinamurthy Stotra. And someday we will study the word-to-word meaning, including, we know all this, no? Mauna, Vyakya, Prakatita, Parabrahma, Tattvam, Yuvanam. Let us go more in detail, but we have. See, human attention is that much time. Beyond that time, we should not talk because we will be overloading our mind. And if you have understood this much, how shall we conclude? Please conclude with a nice concluding prayer. Something. Sarve Bhavantu.
Sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhave. Om shanti shanti shanti. Hari Om.
ಅನೇಕರಿಗೆ ದಕ್ಷಿಣಾಮೂರ್ತಿ ಮೂರ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ನೋಡಿ ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋದಾಗ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿ ಬರ್ತೀವಿ. ಮತ್ತು ದಕ್ಷಿಣಾಮೂರ್ತಿ ದಕ್ಷಿಣಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಖವಾಗಿ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದೇ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಟೆಂಪಲಲ್ಲಿ ದಕ್ಷಿಣಾಮೂರ್ತಿ. ಸೊ ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ವಿವರಣೆ ಸಮಯ ತುಂಬ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಯಿತು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ. ಆದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಪೀಠಿಕೆ ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಪೀಠಿಕೆ ಬೇಕಾದ್ದರಿಂದ ಪೀಠಿಕೆ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಬಂತು. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ವೇದಾಂತದ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೇಕು. ಅವಾಗ ದಕ್ಷಿಣಾಮೂರ್ತಿ ಶ್ಲೋಕವನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಸುಲಭ. ಆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ತಿಮ್ಮಪ್ಪ ಹೆಗ್ಡೆ ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮ ಅಮೂಲ್ಯವಾದ ಸಮಯವನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ನಮಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಅವರಿರೋದು ಕೋರಮಂಗಲದಲ್ಲಿ, ಈಗಿನ ಟ್ರಾಫಿಕ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು ಎಷ್ಟು ಕಷ್ಟ ಅಂತ, ಆದರೂ ತುಂಬ ಸಹರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಮಗೊಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಬುದ್ಧಿಗೆ ಒಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಆಹಾರ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿದಾಗೆ ಅನೇಕ ವಿಡಿಯೋಗಳು ಪರಮಾರ್ಥಾನಂದಜಿಯವ್ರದ್ದು ಹಾಗೂ ಅನುಭವಾನಂದಜಿಯವ್ರದ್ದು ಈ ವಿಷಯವಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ತುಂಬ ಇದೆ. ಒಂದು ಸಲ ಎರಡು ಸಲ ಕೇಳೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಕೇಳಬೇಕು ಸತತವಾಗಿ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು. ಸೊ ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಹೇಗಿರಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಇದನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ದಕ್ಷಿಣಾಮೂರ್ತಿಯ ಸ್ವರೂಪವನ್ನು ಮುಂದೆ ಇಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇನ್ನೂ ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ವಿವರಣೆ ಕೊಡುವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಮಯ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಆದರೆ ಇದ್ದ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ಕೊಡುವಂಥ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ರಾಮತೀರ್ಥ ಸೇವಾ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ ಮತ್ತು ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಅನಂತ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನು ತಿಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ರಾಮತೀರ್ಥ ಸೇವಾ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಕಿರು ಕಾಣಿಕೆಯನ್ನು ಅವರು ಸ್ವೀಕರಿಸಬೇಕು. ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಮೋಹನ್ ಮತ್ತು ಮಧುಸೂದನ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅನೇಕರು ಈ ವಿಷಯ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಏನಿದೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ವಿಶೇಷತೆ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಒಬ್ಬ ವೈದ್ಯರು ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನರರೋಗ ತಜ್ಞರು ಮತ್ತು ನರರೋಗ ಶಸ್ತ್ರಚಿಕಿತ್ಸಕರು ಈ ವೇದಾಂತದ ಶಸ್ತ್ರಚಿಕಿತ್ಸೆಯನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲಿ ಸಮಯ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಓದಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಧ್ಯಾನ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. ಅನೇಕ ಬಾರಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ವಾರದಲ್ಲಿ 3 ದಿವಸ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಗೆ ಬಂದರೆ ಅದೇ ಕಷ್ಟ, 3 ದಿವಸ ಬರೋದು. ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ಇವರನ್ನು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಬ್ಯುಸಿ ಶೆಡ್ಯೂಲು, ಬೆಳಗಿಂದ ರಾತ್ರಿವರೆಗೆ. ಆದರೂ ಅವರ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ, ಅವರ ಸಾಧನೆ, ಅನೇಕ ಸಾಧಕರನ್ನು ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಬರೀ ಕೇವಲ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಸಮಯವನ್ನು ಒಗ್ಗೂಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಹುಡುಕೋದಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದೇ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು. ಅದನ್ನೇ ನಮಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು ತುಂಬ ಸುಂದರವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಬಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ತಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನನ್ನ ವಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನು ತಿಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಮುಗಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.